Well, that went off mostly without a hitch.
Well, I'm just glad we are all safe.
Funny you should mention that. Considering where we'll be going. Long story short, being on foot isn't ideal for our allotted time. Unless we look out and find horses or camels. Best chance we got. One of these towns around. I'd imagine Terminus being a good choice.
Well, if we can procure transportation in Terminus, instead of going north, would it be better to go east? Kind of take a slightly longer route through Boundary, New Zell?
Well, whatever gets us there faster.
I agree. How much wealth do we have collectively?
Turn 19 G's, baby.
114.
Well, I'm at 310.
Oh,
What type of transportation do you think we would be able to acquire, Guide?
I doubt we'll be able to afford a BTT, perhaps a dune jumper.
I give a few nods.
Either way, the fuel is long-lasting and they travel fast.
Well, then I say we should waste no further time. We should probably depart.
Aye, let's go. From what has been discussed, you all agree that in short term you'll be delayed a little bit, but in terms of long-term allotted time, you'll actually save quite a bit. Hence why you're going to Terminus.
Alright, let's go. Let's get her done, mate.
I'm ready to go.
1 hour later.
They roll and encounters, boys. Here we go. This is where we get to meet the purple worms. Plural.
You mean purple worm storm?
Yes!
It rains purple worms.
Oh, God.
So, you start traveling for a bit. Eventually, you find yourself back on the road. Walking along the road for a while. And then, kind of on a little bit on the edge of the horizon, you see two figures kind of pointing fingers at each other. Listening a bit more, it seems to be some sort of argument.
That lumber is in my bounds, Harrison.
I swear to God, it was not in the bounds. I checked the map myself. It was rightful for the taking.
Are you sure it's not one you drew yourself just so you could make where your own bounds go as you please?
I'm not as greedy as the one that you tried to make all the boundaries wherever you want, just so you could keep all the wood to yourself.
My grandfather planted that lumber, and I will not have the likes of you taking it wherever you want.
Then maybe your grandfather should have planted it on your borders.
It was in my borders,
No.
not the ones you drew for yourself, you land-grubbing... There's only one way to settle this. And I think you know it as well.
Yes, I do. Miles, hand me the dueling pistol. See another figure pop up. Seems to give the initial figure a dueling pistol.
Remember, sire, 7 steps, and then you turn to shoot.
Yeah, I've been through this. Rehearsed it at least 6 times.
How close are they?
They're like practically yelling.
Oh, from us, how close are they?
I would say probably about 70 feet off.
70?
Yeah.
So, while I hear them yelling and I kind of see them getting angry, I'm going to pull out. I'm going to kind of looking over at Vex, going to pull out a gold coin and flip it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just a second. All right, I'm gonna flip it. Actually, do I have a coin? I may have a coin on me. Ooh. All right. All right, I do. Okay. Heads, I do it. Tails, I don't. It's heads. All right. I'm gonna quickly move up 10 feet, and I'm casting grease. as soon as they start to move away.
Okay.
So they need to they both need to make a Dex 13 saving throw.
Already.
Is this before or after they line up for the duel?
I was waiting until they right before they started walking,
Okay.
to walk back.
Oh boy.
So as he casts grease, you just kind of see both figures as they turn to each other's backs and start moving forward, and you just see them both just slip on their faces, just fall on their faces.
And I turn back and give a thumbs up.
I'm just kind of sitting here with a look of just, oh no, oh no.
Just in case I'm also casting mage armor. Just in case.
You see one of the I guess duelists. He tries to get back up to his feet, and he reaches inside his coat and pulls out what looks like sandpaper, and he goes to the bottom of his shoe and just starts rubbing them, I guess to give them more friction.
Good thing that doesn't help with grease.
He doesn't seem to be aware that a spell has been casted.
Okay. Well, shall we go up and greet these people now that they are no longer occupied?
Yeah, I think I'm ready to move forward.
Wait, I'm tossing a coin. Alright. Made my decision. Yeah, I'll approach. I'm just gonna walk up and just bluntly say that the guy that you were voicing is in the right, and that the other guy is wrong, and that it's already settled. And if you choose not to settle, or if you disagree, then we'll have to put you to rest.
Roll
Vex,
for intimidation.
I'll wait for after this.
As Vex says that, the figure next to Miles goes, "See, told you I was right. I never lack compared to your lying ass."
22.
22.
Yeah.
So he looks at his dueling pistol, contemplates whether he wants to go through with it, but you can tell that your words have unsettled him. And he looks to his foe and he says, "Oh, I see how it is. Not man enough to take me on by yourself. So be it." He crumples up the map he was holding, throws it at the other guy's feet, and says, "I'm tired. I'm going home.
Does he trip again?
Thank you very much for ruining my day."
Does he trip again?
Let me roll.
Because I don't think it's been a minute yet, so I'm assuming he might just trip again.
So after he says thanks a lot for ruining my day, to add insult to injury, he just slips and falls flat on his face again.
I believe this is the motion that you humans call. I do not know. I know the word that is used is laughter, but I don't think that's an emotion.
Ouchie.
You're all by yourself.
Yep.
There's no one to guide you.
Colson, I'm the man who just fell flat on his face. I'm gonna go to like the edge of the grease and like try and help him up.
Darn, I don't want to walk on the grease as well.
Okay,
No.
roll it. Oh, good lord. Okay. So at this point, the man has been beyond humiliated, and you can tell in his voice that he's holding back tears. He goes, "Don't. I need to do this on my own." And he kind of stumbles to his feet, and you know how when you're on a slippery surface, your feet kind of slide?
Yeah.
He does that, but he manages to catch himself this time. And yeah, he with what little dignity he has left, he dusts himself off and begins to be on his way.
Now, let's see. Is the man walking away? Is he the one? So the gist is they were like both claiming that the other drew a map that gave them more like forested area, I guess.
Yeah, like, you know how some landowners will extend their fence further than they really should? Kind of similar to that.
Okay.
What about the other person? Has he tried getting up yet?
Or is he just lying on the ground?
Oh,
During this minute period?
well, I guess since Sean's not here, I'll roll to see if he gets up. It takes a little more effort, but he's able to eventually stumble back to his feet.
Mm-hmm.
Like the other guy, he begins dusting himself off, but he's way more proud and in much higher spirits than his opponent.
Well, yeah, that's because Vex came up and said this guy's right, and the other guy, if he doesn't step down, we're gonna kill him. I won't kill him. Vex will probably kill him.
Now I'm expecting payment from the other guy.
Okay, do you want to try and
Now we're doing extortion.
do you want to try and negotiate that now
Yeah.
that the other guy's left?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So, is there a certain demand that you're asking for, or
some sort of payment, be it material or coinage.
okay?
Do you want me to
Um,
roll for well, I don't know, some sort of charisma thing?
Yeah. Go ahead and roll with advantage because you really helped this guy out.
What am I rolling for?
Persuasion.
And this is the man with the like the assistant, right? Miles, you said?
26.
Yes.
26, Jesus.
Okay. Considering you helped settle a land dispute and not to mention possibly saved his life, he thinks a reward is more than generous. He is going to give you. Oh boy. 61 platinum.
Cool.
Fucking excuse me.
Well, I think we chose the right side, boys.
Yep.
That is
As useful as this-
that is the most our group has been paid for me using the spell grease.
As
And-
much as this
and-
oh, sorry, Jake.
Was the Ed Chris choosing the right person? God damn.
As much as this gold is going to be helpful, Inshu's not happy about it.
Yeah.
Because this was basically just we threatened to murder and then extortion. It's like
Yeah.
I mean, they were gonna
feels
kill each
really
other.
bad.
They were gonna kill each other anyway. One person was going to die.
And now we saved both lives.
So I guess it's the difference is there you have on the one hand murder, on the other hand extortion.
Oh,
Each not happy either way.
if I didn't already, this is probably a couple days into your trip to Terminus, so
Gotcha.
if you have not had a long rest, go ahead and apply that.
Okie dokie. Well, I can't apply my long rest anymore because I just cast 2 spells.
Oh,
Cast Mage Armor, just in case they both decided to turn on us.
If I had 300 gold worth of diamonds and they did kill themselves, I'd probably just revivify one of them.
I mean, you can get that now.
If I wanted to use all of my gold, I could get diamonds worth 300. That way, if one of you dies, I can at least bring you back.
How does that work on a robot?
That's up to Coulson.
Let's not question it, but how does that work on a robot?
It doesn't say anything about the soul. It just says you touch a creature that has died in the last minute and it returns to life with 1 hit point.
Probably just
Oh,
repairs the magical circuits that were broken.
Jacob, while I'm thinking about it, you know how you more or less have an upgraded arm blade.
Yeah.
I'm going to say somewhere around either level 7 or level 8 that weapon will start doing magical damage because, I mean, Warforged are basically magic robots, right?
Yes.
So we'll say you spend that time just tweaking it and getting it to attune to your apparatus.
Okay.
So around level 7, I'll let you know when it happens, but around level 7 or 8, it'll do the exact same thing it already does. It'll just deal magic damage.
Okay.
And you still have the stats for it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, that looked as though it was a good idea. Honestly, I just thought I'd use Inshu's idea of or other people's self-preservation in order to keep them both alive. But hey, we got paid, I guess, though I cannot use those coins because they are not gold.
Oof.
Erulas, the platinum pieces are just a simply more refined and condensed form of gold pieces. They're worth about 10 times more.
Yes, but watch, I'm going to take out a gold piece. I am going to use my last spell slot and just cast Jim's magic missile. Just up in the air, and he gets to watch as the gold piece is there, and then as I cast the spell, as I shoot it kind of from my right arm wrist, it just goes along with it, turning into this magical energy. This
Yeah.
spell consumes the slot. It consumes the gold. I need gold pieces, not platinum.
Well, when we get to Terminus, you could always go to some type of financial institution and exchange it.
You can do that?
Yes, you can do that.
This is good to know.
Similarly, if you have a large amount of silver pieces, you can go and trade them in for gold pieces.
Well, this is good to know. I have been waiting and saving my gold pieces and refusing everything else because I believed that they could not be transferred. Now I do know.
Well, then today has been a learning experience for you, though
And,
I wish it was in more better circumstances.
thank you very much for this knowledge. Anyways, shall we continue?
I think that would be best.
All right. We going,
Okay.
boys?
So you bid the rich landowner farewell. Vex, he introduced himself to you as, what was it? I think Sean said Harrison. Yeah, we'll go with Harrison. Him and his assistant Miles, they take their leave, and you guys continue south towards Terminus.
Continuing south. Hey, we have enough gold to buy ourselves even better things and still
Yeah.
have gold left over.
Like airplanes.
Yeah! Dude, we should just buy a whole bunch of parts to turn myself into an airplane. I'm just saying.
Or a drone.
Wing,
Yes.
wing attachments, propellers, jet engines, if they're even around yet.
No, I just want to be a giant RCXD from Black Ops.
Oh gosh.
Fucking love RCXDs.
You got one shot. Make it count.
Beep beep.
Rolls not one.
Well.
That was my shot. Let's see.
Pulls down
So after
pants.
some traveling, the rest of your journey compared to what just happened is fairly uneventful. Eventually, after some time, you begin to enter the outskirts of Terminus, and eventually you see the inner city. Inside the inner city, numerous railroads wind in and out of the settlement, with bustling roads and walkways full of citizens, merchants, traders, drifters, among other types of varying races and people. Among other settlements in the fourth quadrant, many important institutions and other buildings scatter themselves amongst the cityscape. from colleges to industrious factories. Many clustered abodes also litter themselves in the settlement, full of inhabitants enacting their daily lives and making the best of their profession, for better or worse, and of varying classes. As you make your way more inside the city, you see several inns and taverns, as well as some other notable landmarks in between the busy streets, which house many merchants and the occasional con artist attempting to make the quick coin. Some successful, some failing miserably. A few shops around also seem more specialized in mechanical jobs, including a few motor pools that aim to offer maintenance or of selling of vehicles.
Aerodros Vex, if you two would mind going to the vehicle depot, maybe get some ideas on what type of price we're looking at. I'll go to the train yard, see if maybe we could get a ride, get a bit closer, and we could go from there.
That sounds like a great idea. I do have one question.
What is it?
Where is the vehicle depot? This is the first time we've been here, I'm fairly certain.
There's a few shops. I know they're not really labeled. There's still a lot of commerce, or a lot of these buildings are commerce.
Gotcha.
But they range from your typical, general stores, traveling merchants, and then you have the more mechanical based with garages and all that are more privately owned than some of the big corporations that are more on the border side of town.
Alright, well, I guess with Aerodros, I guess with that, your question answered, that you could take a look at that map. I'm going to go to the train. Where should we meet back up?
Let's see.
Is there some type of inn nearby?
Yes, there are several inns and taverns, just kind of littered around the town. Some are some are more lavish than others, but there's plenty around.
Let's just go with like a medium, like a middle of the road one.
You could probably find yourself probably more of a, like I said, a middle wealth tavern around probably a little bit more on the eastern side of town.
Alright.
Kind of in between from the city center, and probably a little bit south of the train yard.
Alright. Well, Eldros, we might be able to find an inn a little bit south of the train yard, so do we want to just meet up there?
It sounds fine with me, though I do not believe we should stay, as that does put us back a day.
Well, I'm not saying we necessarily have to stay, but just as a somewhat centralized meeting point. Or we could just simply come back here near the northern edge.
The inn sounds like a fine meeting point.
Okay. Well, I wish you luck at the vehicle depot. And then I'm going to kind of take my leave to go to the train station.
Okay.
So you guys kind of travel along the main roads for a little bit. You pass by the train yard, to which you wave Inshu goodbye for now, as he tries to inquire some information as to where exactly everywhere it goes and the prices and whatnot. You probably go down, you pass down the city hall a little bit, and then you decide to go south a little bit. And of course, you see several wandering merchants, several traders, maybe a thief or two trying to pickpocket off of random people to get a quick buck.
We'll say that Aerodros is taking the lead, and Vex, you're kind of just following along, minding your own business, when all of a sudden you feel a tap on your shoulder and say, "Pardon me." So you turn around and you see a unique-looking individual. Based on your time spent in remediation, this is a female kukrer. However, she's not in any guard or authority type clothing, but rather she seems to be more or less a traveling merchant. And as you look closer at her, you see each of her eyes are a different color. One is red, the other is blue, the other is green, and the last one is gold, matching the color insignias of the 4 quadrants. And she looks at you and says, I beg your pardon, but I could not help but notice that you have a unique aroma, that of the arcane.
How exactly do you know that?
I could smell you, sorcerer. As I said, the aroma of arcana is quite strong in certain individuals.
What exactly do you want with it?
Right to the point. I like that.
I'm a busy man.
As am I, a busy woman. Which is why I'm trying to make a living by having this conversation with you. You see, I couldn't help but notice that you have what looks like a stone rabbit hide, yes?
Oh, this thing? Yeah. What about it?
Well, I'm sure you've heard a time or two that a rabbit's foot can bring a person quite luck when they need it.
I don't necessarily know if I believe in luck.
Well, neither do I. Of course, a rabbit's foot by itself, it's just superstitious nonsense. However, I specialize in enchanting items to make it to where it would be more than just wishful thinking.
Exactly how much for it, I guess. I know where you're going.
I require no coin, young sorcerer. However, I do request that in exchange for me giving you a rabbit's foot, that you would allow me to keep the rest of its feet and hide in exchange for your new magic item.
This thing was heavy in my pack anyways, and I hand it to her.
Splendid. I knew you would notice a good deal when you saw one. So, she takes out a small curved-bladed knife and saws off the part of the hide that contains the foot. And she hands you the rest of the hide back, saying, "Just so that you know, I'm a woman of my word. I will let you keep the rest of this until I finish with my enchantment spell. It will take some time, and I understand that you have other business to attend to, so I will not keep you waiting. If you wish, there could be a certain place where we meet up, and I could give you your finished item."
Alright. How about, and then I'm gonna give her the location of the inn that we're already meeting up at.
What a coincidence. I happen to be staying near there. Very convenient. Yes, that will work perfectly.
How long exactly will this take?
I would say sometime this evening, say 6:30.
Alright.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I shall let you be on your way, Mr.
I'm gonna flip a coin. Don't worry about it. As in, like, don't worry about my name.
Very well. Then you shall refer to me simply as the Enchanter. Pleasure doing business.
Yep. I'm just gonna fucking walk away.
Okay.
Was Jacob there with me?
I walked a bit forward, so I realized you weren't behind me. And as I saw you in mid-conversation,
Oh.
just during that entire thing, and as you turn around, I was just looking at you, both of you talking through my spyglass. And as you get closer, I'm going to put it back up. What was that all about?
She wanted that hide in exchange for some sort of magic foot. Apparently it helps with luck, but I guess we'll wait and see.
Intriguing. Well, let us continue then.
Yep.
I'm eager to see what type of vehicles they have. Hopefully not animals. Vehicles, preferably. That,
Alright.
I'm ready to go.
So after Vex gets done talking to the enchanter, you decide to go on your initial way. You go by, you briefly look at a few shops here and there, and you start to get into a area of the town that seems to be a lot louder in terms of just what's going on in every single building around you. You eventually turn a corner, and then across from the street, you actually see what seems to be a shop with an open garage.
Damn monster truck inside.
You know what? Let me roll for it.
Oh no.
Yeah!
You know what? We'll say that there is a. It's not running, but there is a monster truck being worked on in there.
Wow, those are big tires. Anyways, let us go. I guess we're gonna go up to the counter, or go in there and see. Do they have like a wide selection, or is it just like a garage that appears to be just for repairing vehicles?
It's a fairly large garage. You can assume that they also get a vehicle or two that they'll probably end up selling.
Okay.
But as you go up to the counter, you see a man come out from the side of the shop into the noticeably cooler area of the building. There stands it is a human with jeans, a white shirt. Seems to have a fairly broad body type, slightly beady eyes, and brown short hair. You can also see that as he walks up to the counter, he's holding a nice cool beer in his right hand.
The boomer.
He walks up to a younger lad, and you can see by the expression on his face that he's not happy for some reason. And you soon figure out why, because he says, "God dang it, boy! I told you how many times? If you don't get them damn welds straight, I'm gonna kick your ass."
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll try it again. Let me see if I can find the plasma cutter around here somewhere.
Well, get to it. What do you think I'm paying you for?
Yes. You see the smaller lad kind of run off into the shop.
He turns and he sees you, and he goes, "Oh, sorry you had to see that. What can I do for you fine gentlemen?"
I was gonna say, well, I'm assuming you're gonna be selling me propane and propane accessories.
Can we get a propane-powered car, please? We are here to see if you have any vehicles willing to be sold.
Well, I assume you're looking for one with motors, otherwise you'd be going to the stables.
Preferably. I am not the biggest fan of riding on animals, though I will if need be.
Well, you come to the right place. My vehicles will last longer and travel faster. Got anything ranging from BTTs to Sand Rovers.
At what cost?
Well, we'll get to price negotiating later on. first you got to see what you want.
Oh, then do show us.
Okay. So, um, before he goes out into the shop, he introduces himself as Hodge Hark.
Hodge Hark.
Hodge Hark.
Said he's a human, right?
Yes, sir.
Damn, that means I can't investigate him. Hodge Hark. Q car seller slash repair man. Mechanic. That's the right word. Well,
Well, what do you got?
What kind of propane accessory do you have?
I'm actually curious as to the price of a BTT. So I'm like, although I do not believe we can afford it, what are the prices that you usually give for those big ones? I believe you called them BTTs.
So he seems to do some math in his head. And he looks at you and says, current list prices starts out at 80,000 gold. Of course, that's without upgrades.
I will keep this in mind for later. Though, as I said, I do not believe we can purchase that specific one yet. Just curious.
So he leads you into the shop, and you see a fair amount of workers in those blue jumpsuits. There's a fair amount of welding going on, tire replacement. Just your typical machine shop. Not to mention, stacked up in the I guess rafters, there's a fair amount of oil barrels and what looks like propane tanks.
Propane
And
tanks.
you can see the similar types of tanks that are connected to either torches or welders or cutters.
Mm-hmm. Wait, plasma. Plasma welders. I can weld things onto myself. Make improvements on myself.
Can we get a sand skiff?
So he leads you around the shop, and you see a fair amount of vehicles that are being processed. It's kind of like a conveyor belt. You see the beginning of what will eventually be a fully fledged vehicle, and then at the end of the line you see them. There's a fair amount of the most common thing here being sold is sand rovers or sand skiffs, but there's also some four-wheeled vehicles, not nearly as big as a BTT. They're what's known as a dune jumper. They can fit more people, and they probably go about the same speed and same gas mileage, but they can fit more people and supplies, which would probably make them a bit more expensive.
Okay. Well, hit us with the price there, lad.
All right. Through your browsing, you see that the list price for one Sand Rover is, let me make sure I have this right, 2,500 gold pieces.
Okay.
A a dune jumper will run at about 4,200 standard price.
We really came all the way back here for nothing.
So seeing your unsure expressions at the price range, he studies you for a second and then takes a sip of his beer, and he says, "I can tell by the look on your face that you probably can't afford such items, at least with the current amount of coin you got. But I might be able to help with that." maybe a way I could lower the price a bit.
Okay, we're listening. Yes.
Why don't we go step into my office? It's less loud and more private.
I don't like where this is going.
Oh, don't worry, I have a jar of black smoke if we need it. This is a key item. Well, I guess I'll start walking that way.
Okay.
He doesn't look too tough, you know, if anything happens. Well, we'll just make sure we gotta bring a shovel, that's all.
So you step into his office. It's a pretty quaint little space. Much quieter than the outside shop, and the cinder blocks do a decent job of tuning that out. So, long story short, he sits down and he explains how for about the past week and a half, his petrol shipments haven't come in like they should have. Not to mention running a bit low on that good old propane for his welders and equipment,
As well as some parts.
as well as some parts. So he proposes an errand run of sorts with a few big places around that may supply some fuel. One that's quite notable would be the Calmian motor pools, due to the similarity of the machinery they use in their area. So he's pretty much proposing a supply run for items that haven't come in yet for unknown reasons. And if you help him out with this, he'll reduce the price.
Okay. I'm going to look at Vex and let him decide this because this sounds like a collectathon.
While you guys are negotiating, we'll jump to Mr. Inshu.
So, go to the train yard. You kind of look in the back. You know, you have your initial train station in front. You kind of look around the building. You see the back. That's just a bunch of carts, probably not even connected to anything, and a few workers kind of moving stuff here and there.
Is there like a ticket counter?
Yes, there is. You walk up some steps, and you know there's a more elevated building that's more for ticket counters and you know supposed to keep schedules and loading stuff to where everything goes to and fro from terminus.
All right.
You see, you go up to the ticket counter and you see seems to be a extravagant human with a very large bushy mustache and blue attire with a large blue cap and very very thin rimmed glasses.
Excuse me.
Ah, yes.
Do you happen to have tickets to Boundary?
Our trains go to and fro everywhere. I wouldn't suppose that we have one probably departing in probably a day or so, going to Boundary, or at least going through it. You looking to hitch a ride on said train?
That would be ideal. Do you have any going? You said through Boundary. Does that include farther north?
Yeah, it's just that you might, there might be a pretty big delay once you hit that there border up there north. Sometimes they, purposely stop the train right in the middle of its route, just to make sure that there's nothing, sketchy on board.
How much would such a ticket cost?
Well, considering, anything probably south of the border will probably run you cheaper. I've heard that they've been bumping up rates to make up for the time delays whenever it goes a little bit farther out north.
Does it go as far north as Velma?
Let me see right here on this here map. Turns over, looks on the map. He goes, yeah, it'd probably reach Velmar, if not a minor settlement before then. Let me see the price for Velmar. Well, considering that's north of the border, that'd probably easily run you at least 30 gold per ticket.
All right. Well, I may be back to purchase those tickets. Thank you very much.
Alright.
And then I'm going to kind of depart and head kind of for the inn that we were going to meet up at.
You said it was midday, right, Colson? About midday.
Yeah, you said like 12:30 when we got there.
We'll say about, since you arrived, we'll say about hour and a half has passed, so it's probably closer to 2 o'clock.
Well, in the meantime, while I wait, I'm gonna dip into a tavern and get see if I can get something to go. How much is the meal?
Let's say 3 silver pieces.
Okie dokie.
Is it time to cut back to reality?
It's time to cut back to
The negotiations.
propane negotiations.
And then I cast Fireball on the propane.
Oh no.
What did I get back to?
Hey, you have the damage from your own fireball, but you can't have the damage from the subsequent domino effect of explosions all around the shop.
It's back to us, Chris. And the negotiations. So he wanted us to go on a fly run?
He essentially said that because his shop is... They have a little bit of reserves, but they're eating through a lot of the reserves because for some reason any recent shipments haven't came in. And basically he said he's willing to lower the price by a significant amount if you're willing to go to Calmian Motor Pools and see if you can have them lend some extra petrol and maybe some spare parts.
And how far away is that?
Considering you guys are a little bit more south of City Hall, almost directly south and a little bit over to the left, it's not that as long as a walk, but it's towards the far western side of the city. And it's a collection of about 5 or so buildings right next to where you start going into, right next to where it becomes the outskirts of Terminus.
Okay. Alright.
I feel like we don't have the time for this. So I'm gonna pray that Inshu hooked us up. Yeah, I'm just gonna decline.
Tell him that we unfortunately don't have the time.
Yeah.
Say we are in a very time constricted state.
Alrighty.
Time restricted, I guess is the right word. Yeah, well thank you for the time and apologize that we could. I'll just, as best as my little robot brain can think of, I will apologize for not being able to help and thank him for his time and then head out.
Alright. He said either way, he appreciates just having some sort of business around these parts. I don't know, not that all-time monetary stuff come out of it. It's still, people are still coming in the door, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
You guys start walking. You take a right turn and start heading towards the eastern part of the city. It's probably 15 or so minutes go by, and directly behind you, probably a mile and a half off, you just hear a very loud dual explosion, and then hear the peppering of gunshots.
Oh, fuck.
Well now, is that worth investigating? I believe we don't have enough time to. That is up to you, Vex. What do you think?
Yeah, we best stay away from that. We don't want to get hurt, do we?
Yes, I do not like that feeling known as pain. It sucks, as you fleshies call it.
As soon as you say that, you hear another kind of dull explosion off in the distance, and then it seemingly goes silent.
Are there any like alarms going off or like sirens or anything?
You wait a few moments, and then you do hear probably several people, probably a nearby guard post, yelling. And then farther off, you start hearing a dull thing of a siren heading towards wherever that noise originated from.
Damn. I'm glad I'm not good alignment at all.
I'm glad I'm not a guard.
Alright, you guys continuing?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
Just FYI, I am currently fucking sprinting towards the sound of these explosions.
God damn it.
Okay then.
Do we see him coming this way?
Considering that he was at the tavern on the southern side, and I'd say you guys were around that same area on the road-wise, I'm putting you along one of the southern others road. You would probably see, I wouldn't say you like just comically run into each other, but you can probably look down like probably a road as you're passing the intersection and see his familiar figure just sprinting.
I wouldn't be looking down roads. I'd be going straight for it. So, that's unfortunate. So Vex, it's all up to you to notice him.
It's up to me to notice him.
I wouldn't be paying attention.
Is that
I'd
like
be
a
heading
perception?
straight
Is
for
that like
the-
a perception check?
Yeah, roll me a perception.
Ouch. That's a natural 2 plus 5. 7.
Sorry. Considering how busy these roads are, there's a lot of people, as the cool cats like to say these days, hustling around.
Mhm. I would roll, but I already said that I wouldn't be looking around. So, that does not seem in character for Aerodros unless he sees something that he can use.
Alright. Going back to, so you guys are going to go ahead and continue back to the tavern?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, queen. Alright. Well, we will briefly go. We will wait for.
Sorry about that. I heard a cursed phrase.
Wait, what did you say?
Yeah, it started with yes and ended with
Yeah,
quan.
Oh.
As you guys are making your way back to the tavern, we will briefly go back to Inshu.
I was running.
So, with whatever equipment that you have on your back, and you just hear, even with how farther you are, they're even duller, but you can, it's still distinct with what a gunshot sounds like, even from at least a mile off.
Plus, explosion.
Plus the dual explosions. It takes you probably a little bit more of the time and you go farther out west than where the other two went. But
That's okay.
you seem to find yourself at least probably from a few blocks, probably 2 or 3 blocks away from Calmian motor pools. And
That's where they were, correct?
that's where they were thinking of heading before they declined.
Okay.
And you managed to get there probably, I would say, almost about the same time as any sort of police or guards arrive.
Yeah.
And you just see several exploded petrol barrels, as well as probably six dead people on one side and probably about 4 dead people on the other side. The one on probably, let's say, the right side look like to be probably workers of some sort, and the other four that are dead on the other side seem to be. They don't really look like there's any sort of like straight up affiliation, except can you roll me a quick perception check?
Yeah, nat 19 plus 2 plus 3, so 22.
You see that they all wear the same type of sheen of belt, so they you could probably piece together that they're probably affiliated with something together.
Some type of belt, you said?
Yes, around their waists. But you see that if there's any sort of person alive from this, it doesn't really look like it. It looks like people either were unlucky enough to be caught in with either a bullet wound or an explosion, and whoever was left managed to make it off before police arrived. And there are a few other scattered petrol barrels that haven't exploded that seem to be they're well out of place from where they would normally be, which would be in the complex of county and motor pools, as it sees on the logo on the side.
And you said there doesn't really seem to be anyone who's like injured.
If there is, they'd be on probably their last leg of life, but any sort of police are setting up a perimeter of sorts as you're starting to get some gawkers and other public that are, want to be nosy and see what's going on.
This kind of is some of the guards are kind of starting to set up some of a barricade. I'm gonna come up to one and says, "You're just pricing. You're just," because I just sprinted across basically the city.
He sees you sprint and say, you could tell that this is a crew cur, and he's, you seem pretty out of breath. So anything I can help you with?
Are there any injured?
We have at least one detective on scene. The other one, I don't know where the hell he's at. He's probably still eating his late ass lunch or wherever he does. As far as I know, I'm just sitting up the barricade. Why? What's your profession?
Cleric, healer.
He kind of gives like.
Yeah, because of the
Kind of gives an odd.
The necklace is probably like jingling slightly.
Yeah, and he's like, religious man, aren't you?
Can I just give a nod?
Try not to cause any trouble, but if you find anyone, it sure help know what went down here.
I'm gonna kind of go in and start looking, just kind of any of the bodies, just checking, see if anyone's alive.
All right.
And if they are, immediate cure, slap them with a cure wounds.
You find 3 individuals that just seem on the last leg of life.
All right. Well,
two are suffering from bullet wounds of some caliber, and the third seemed to be seems to be a bit shell shocked from one of the explosives.
So after I hit him with the cure wounds, I'm gonna call over a guard saying I got one.
Okay. And 2 of these individuals seem to be in the coveralls and stuff like that of workers, and one has the one that seems to be of the other party with a black belt of sorts. So as you call up to the crew guards, you see probably 3 of them come up. They after you hit them with the cure wounds, of course, these guys haven't seen any sort of magic like that in a while. So at first they're like a little bit shocked, and then they're like, seems like they're still alive. So they kind of wait for, I guess, them to stabilize, and then they kind of sit them up.
Yeah. Okay, so if they're gonna live, that's good.
Yeah, it looks like they still look dinged to a degree, but they're a lot better. They're at least conscious now.
Okay.
So
At about this point, another individual approaches the Kukur and he says, "Excuse me, Chief. We got a bit of a problem.
yeah, what would that be?
Well, aside from the casualties, we managed to salvage about half a dozen barrels of petrol and 4 tanks of propane. And, well, Graves has rustled up enough men to carry it out of here and away from the hazard, but we don't really have anyone to, well, look after them if anyone in the city tries any funny business."
Uh, it's always a lack of men. You see that he's kind of pondering himself for a little bit. And then he looks over to you, Inshu, as, well, you seem pretty good-mannered enough to heal these men. You don't mind looking after these barrels for a bit while we try to get this under maintenance, would you?
Oh, no, not at all.
Thanks.
The man looks to you, Inshu, and says, "It'll be a bit of a walk, but, we're taking these to Hodge's place. I mean, he has a shipment that's been overdue anyway, so might put a smile on the old man's face."
I give a nod.
And you see the chief go back in. Did you see anything else laying around the scene? Talk to whoever that lady at the front desk is in the offices of Calmian and see if they're in any sort of stock or if they're missing anything from their inventory. To which the lower kind of nods and then runs off in that direction.
All right.
So, as you probably help the others, there was probably another officer or two that's helped rounding up the barrels along with you. You see in the corner of your eye, they're making whoever was still alive from the incident stand up, and they're going to walk them into a more private area to where they might start at least an on-site interrogation of sorts, just to get a brief idea of just what exactly went down.
All right, and with that 16 strength, I'm gonna help move stuff.
Okay. Alright, so it doesn't take you that long in order to get the barrels situated with the other two. You kind of get on a little cart of some sorts and just kind of push the cart a few city blocks until you get back to what seems to be a fairly large shop of some sorts, open garage, and the kind of distant off yelling and cussing of some sort. But you eventually settle the cart in front of the open shop, and you see a few of the workers in blue coveralls just kind of see you, don't really mind business, and you see what a man you can probably assume is Hodges pulls out another can of beer from a nearby cooler of sorts, and then approach you.
My oh my, what was all that ruckus out there?
We aren't sure. They aren't sure. It could possibly have been some sort of attack, but there were several explosions. They said that they needed someone to look after the rest of the petrol and the propane, so that no one tried it again. They said to bring it to you.
Is that right? Well,
They said that you had some shipments that were late.
yes, they're quite a bit overdue. And say, you're the one that brought them here, huh?
I give a nod, slight jingling of my earring.
Well, you going anywhere anytime soon?
Yes, my group and I plan to head out quite soon. Some of them might have come by here asking about the prices.
Did they now? Do you recall what they look like?
Just kind of give like a general description of Erulas and Vex. Because I'm assuming Warforged aren't exactly by any means a common sight.
Oh, they're extremely rare.
So,
Oh yeah, that was them, all right. Yeah, they were looking for some vehicles, but didn't exactly have the coins, if you know what I mean.
I am unfortunately well aware.
Well, nothing personal. I mean, vehicles ain't cheap these days, but listen, you were kind enough to escort my shipment here, and there's a lot of unsavory folks that'd like to get their hands on it. But anyway, you seem to do the job because got here safely. I could probably work out some kind of deal for you. After all, you did this job, and nope, you did this job, and well, I didn't even have to ask you.
May I inquire about some of the more details?
Why don't we step into my office real quick?
I step.
And as he leads you to his office, you see a younger boy run by, about to go do a job in the shop, and Hodge looks over his shoulder and says, "Did you straighten them welds out, boy?"
Yeah. I gave him a second attempt.
All right, well, I'll be out to check him in a minute.
Sure thing. Kind of wipes off the sweat and weariness as he runs off.
So you step into his office, Inshu, and he bids you or beckons you to have a seat if you wish. And he
I'm
sits.
taking the pack off my shoulders, kind of setting it on the ground. I sit down. I'm like kind of ashy, just kind of covered in ash and dust.
Yeah.
I assume to a certain degree.
Before we start negotiating prices, do you recall what the perpetrators looked like when you arrived on the scene?
Due to the explosions, some of the more finer details were lost. And I'm not exactly sure which group it was that was responsible, but there were several that wore black belts.
Is that right?
They seemed to stand out more from the workers. Their clothing even burned was quite distinct.
Did you happen to spot what kind of pattern them belts had?
Did I spot what type of pattern those belts had?
So when you roll a natural 19, they seem to be a sort of snakeskin pattern.
Yes, they had a sleek snakeskin pattern.
That's what I figured. Well then, sounds like the Black Mambas are about again. Don't know if you've had any run-in with them kind of folks, but let's just say they'll mind their manners as long as you mind yours, and they seem to fancy associating with those that have big pocketbooks, if you know what I mean.
Coking some doking.
Well, that is concerning.
Well, point is, if you make dealings with them folks, you best make sure you got a way out. Things go south with them real quick. Well, that's not what we're here for. From what I could tell, you could use some transportation, correct?
I give a nod. Yes, we plan to head north. I already went and I had a talk with one of the station masters just to see what type of prices I'm looking at for a trip for my companions and I.
Yeah, well, the train will get you where you need to go, but it doesn't go without risks. There's train robbers, and not to mention, he kind of looks left and right, even though there's really no one else in the room, and then he leans in closer. He says, "Did you hear about the incident that happened down south?"
I shake my head.
Well, There was a shipment coming from remediation all the way up to here. Seems like halfway along the way, a big... Well, some folks call them indigo earth movers. One of them just blew up out of the ground and knocked the train right off the tracks. It's quite a sight to see. Of course, I wasn't there, but that's what I heard.
Also, it's hard to go anywhere that there is not track.
Exactly. That big behemoth, he blew up the tracks and knocked one of the cars right off the rails. Them indigo earth movers, or purple worms as some call them, they seem to be attracted to the noise of a train.
Well, I appreciate your warning. Thank you.
Anyways, do you know how much money your group has altogether?
Combined, we have about 1,000 gold pieces, plus or minus.
About 1,000, huh? Well, it just so happens that standard price for a dune jumper would run you about 4,200. But since you were nice enough to deliver my shipment that was long overdue, I'm willing to give you a 75% discount.
Woo!
Of course, that'll be about 1,050 to be exact, but if you can match that number as close as you can, I won't say any more about it.
Well, I'm assuming they're wondering where I was. We were going to meet up a bit farther south, but after those explosions, I ran to that. So I will go collect them, and I think we will be highly interested. Probably no more than 10-20 minutes.
Take your time, friend.
Then I kind of stand up, offering out a hand.
All right, he shakes it.
And I kind of grab my pack and say that I will return shortly. I'm gonna return to Vex and Erulas at the inn.
Okay.
You guys, so you decide to walk on your way back to the inn. Takes you, probably takes you about 30 minutes of walk. Trying to go past the less busy roads, but as it starts getting a bit later in the day, it's nowhere near as crowded as it was before.
Yeah.
You do see a few interesting figures along the way. One seems to be a fairly short kobold fellow, just kind of minding their own business and eyeing you as you walk back to your good old tavern with the glint of what seems to be a prosthetic arm of sorts, just kind of watching you.
Kobold. I'm looking at my races known. Hold on. Would I know about kobolds?
No.
No. Well, this boy's about to get analyzed. I'm just gonna walk up to him, stare directly down at him, and go, "You are quite intriguing. What are you?"
Seem to be eyeing Inshu, not really paying attention, and then they look up, and then they seem to be awestruck for a second.
What are you?
A minute ago. Now hold that question there, friend, but what exactly are you? It's not any time I get to see anyone come out here made of metal.
One second. Okay.
By the way, this figure, or whoever is here, is
I'm here.
okay. It is. They seem to be wearing a medium thickness bomber coat of sorts, tinted goggles, and tannish pants. The right arm has been replaced with a mechanical prosthetic, and the left horn is chipped midway up to the tip.
Okay.
And You also see that there's a mechanical bird of some sort is perching on the right shoulder of this individual, and it is fully animate.
Hmm. My creator Silvus says that I am what is known as a Warforged. Now, what are you?
You call me Kobold. You probably see I'm going to assume you haven't seen any of us folks any time anywhere around here. Although, judging from the look on your face, you seem a little bit new to the world, friend.
I was created 2 years ago.
You said Sylvis, right?
That's right, Silvus Corin.
Seems a little bit familiar. Is that up north?
I think so, yeah, right?
Yes.
Yes, she creates magic weapons. She is what created me.
Ah, yes. Well, if you couldn't really tell, I kind of specialize in around the same type of stuff that your creator kind of works in. Call them artificers.
Oh no. Okay.
Kind of looks past you, kind of sees the crow-like man that's been with you, and immediately her expression just kind of perks up. She immediately gets up and runs towards him. Oh boy, it's been a very long time since I've seen you. What are you doing in this here parts?
Oh, not much. Gidget. Is that you?
Yeah, it's me. Now with mechanical arm and everything, my little bird.
Huh. Wasn't that something?
You could say I definitely called my way out of that hole that you saved me out. Good, at least a year and a half ago, if I remember correctly.
That's right. And also, if I remember correctly, that bird wasn't even moving.
Nope. Managed to find some sort of way to power it. Some magical core that I found in one of the ruins dug out around here.
Wasn't that something? What brings you all the way to Terminus?
I was kind of going everywhere looking for certain parts, kind of go with my little projects, and then I decided to decided to hang out here for at least a month or two and see if anything interesting come back. And I kind of looks back towards Erulas. Seems like something interesting sure did eventually come to my luck.
That they did.
And they say, what are you doing around here?
Well, we're just here for a short time, looking to travel farther north. By the way, Vex, Aerodros, I have something to secure as transportation.
That's great.
Is
We
it-
were largely unsuccessful in ours, unless you for some reason have thousands upon thousands of gold in your pocket.
We'll discuss this on the way there.
Well, if you guys don't mind my company, I have some catching up to do. Don't mind us back here.
Hmm. Okay. Alright. Alright. I guess we'll just continue. I guess Inshu's leading the way.
Yes.
I am not comfortable with this piece of shit artificer here. There's only one good artificer, and that's my creator. Other ones.
So kind of on the
created
way back to the shop, I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about like the explosion, the delivering of the oil, and how he doesn't mind giving us a dune. What was it, a dune jumper?
Yes.
A dune jumper for 1,050.
So we are not taking the train. You did go
Well,
to the train, right, Inshu?
yes. A ticket from here to Velma would run us 30 gold apiece.
Okay.
But I think the freedom and the mobility might be more beneficial.
Saves you from getting eaten by a purple worm.
He did warn me of that.
You do not know what this purple worm is. I may be required to study it at some point.
Oh, trust me, friend. You probably don't. You probably never want to know what it is.
Unfortunately, my programming says I do.
Bamboozled.
So you guys kind of head on your way. Eventually, you find your way back to Hodge's shop. Of course, like I said, as you guys approach the shop again, you can look over to the right side, just inside the door, and you just see a recycling bin just full of beer cans.
Classic.
He starts approaching you guys once again. Goes to the cooler, takes out another beer can.
Does he crack open a new beer with each new customer? He's getting increasingly incoherent.
And walks up to you guys.
Oh, back so soon, are you?
Hey, Haji.
Oh, hey, fella.
We would like to take you up on that deal.
Oh, is that right? Well, think you know where to meet me.
Who has Vex? Do you have like the 600 whatever gold?
I have a lot. I have like 900.
600
well, I-
well,
platinum.
800.
Plus- yeah. I got 100, but I need at least 20.
How much do you have again, Chris, total, gold piece wise?
I have 219 gold plus 61 plat.
Alright, well, I have 310 gold and 6 plat, so how do we want to pay for this?
I have 113 gold.
But you need gold.
I need at least 20 gold so I can cast my spell.
Yeah. Because I'm fine putting all of my gold in for
I
it.
also do have a spyglass worth 1,000 gold.
I thought you like fucking
I haven't done
integrated
that yet.
in. Oh, I thought you already integrated it into your face.
Not yet. That requires a bit more. I don't have the proper tools for that. Let's put it that way yet.
Alright. So Chris, do you want me to spend all of my gold and then you cover the rest, or how do you want to do this?
It doesn't matter. Could we? How much? You said you had 300.
I have 310.
I mean, like we're barely gonna cut it.
I have 100.
You said it was 1150.
1,000.
Oh, 1050.
So you pay
I'll
740.
I'll spend mine. I'll do what is that?
It's like all the
639
platinum.
or 829. Wait,
Yeah.
no, that doesn't add up.
I was about to say, well,
Yeah, it
once
does.
I pay mine, you need to pay 740.
All right, I'll pay. Okay, that's fine.
Time is spent collecting the appropriate amount of coinage and filling out the necessary paperwork, getting the vehicle registered, all the typical processes of purchasing a new vehicle.
And he's still infinitely faster than the DMV.
And at the end of it all, Hodge Hark, he says, also supplied it with enough fuel for four whole tanks after you used the first one, and I gave you a new spare tire. Hope you realize this deal's quite a steal. And speaking of steel, I'd keep my eye on this here fine piece of machinery if I were you. There's plenty of unsavory folks out there who'd be more than happy to steal it.
We will. And again, thank you.
Thank you. And good luck on your mission, whatever it may be.
So then I give him like a final handshake. I don't know if Vex or Erulas are doing something similar.
Dude, social distancing.
I'm sick. I can't.
Yeah, dude, you gotta be careful with COVID-19 going around.
So we'll say the last ones to bid him farewell are the guide as well as Gidget. They both shake his hand, and then they you all make your way to the garage, and you're given a key, a set of keys for the vehicle, and they point out all the basic functions of it. You know, the storage compartment, where to put the fuel and how, where the spare tire is, how to turn the headlights on and off.
The way I wrote my J in my notes, it made it look like I wrote Dune Dumper. It just
That's a new spell where it just makes it rain sand. Dune Dumper.
And I'll be nice and say it has 4-wheel drive.
Thank God.
So it has a full tank now, and it has enough for 4 more full tanks before you'll have to worry about purchasing more.
Okie dokie.
So,
I can drive this. I have proficiency in land vehicles.
that's perfect.
This is good.
Vex, are you forgetting something?
I am. I'm forgetting something. Yeah, I need to go back.
Okay. We'll say at this time it's about 6 o'clock, so pretty close to the time you agreed to meet her.
Yeah. What's this 4-eyed bitch got from you?
Well, we'll say she sees you again, and she goes, "Ah, there you are. Well, as promised, here it is. Finished and ready to go.
How exactly does this thing work?
Simple. What all rabbits' feet are meant to do. Bring you luck. Only this time it's more than a superstition.
Yeah, let me test it out real quick.
The item does require attunement, so if you want I can send you the statistics for it.
The specs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we... Oh, fuck.
And since this came from a stone rabbit, it's quite a bit bigger than most rabbit feet would be. And it's tied to a fairly thick leather lanyard.
Rabbit foot. Whenever a 1 is rolled on a d20 for an ability check, saving throw, or attack roll, the user may re-roll the d20 and use the new result. The foot has 4 charges. If a natural 1 is rolled a second time on a re-roll, a charge is expended. When all charges are upped, the rabbit's foot is no longer magical, unless re-enchanted again.
There you go.
Yay! I got a rabbit's foot!
I just picture Vex saying that out loud.
4-eyed bird woman gave me rabbit foot. I'm happy.
So I assume, per the agreement, you hand her the rest of the hide and whatnot.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
No, fuck you, bitch.
Pleasure doing business with you.
Maybe our paths will cross again.
Perhaps. Either way, I hope your new item helps you when you need it, and that it does not become a burden. I cannot stand to think of the idea that I swindled someone out of a good deal.
Well, we'll see about that.
Well, in any case, farewell, pretty sorcerer. I shall continue on my way and see if others are in need of my business.
That bitch just called me pretty boy. Alright.
So rather than walk away, she
Flies.
flaps her wings and hovers a comfortable 6 inches off the ground and continues on her way.
Cool.
Okay.
Let's
We gotta go.
We gotta go. We're
Make
racing
it
against the
fast.
clock now. Go, go, go! Speed run.
Yes.
All right. So a dune jumper, top speed, I believe, is 50 miles an hour.
What time of day is it right now?
Considering, we'll say they get ready to leave around 6:45 p.m. And it is, for reference, it is the middle of April.
Okay, just going to pipe up a second and simply point to you, Erulas, and say, I see you have a, what is that? Spyglass in your bag?
Yes.
Do you have any plans of integrating that? I heard you kind can integrate.
Once I get the appropriate equipment, yes.
I have the tools and skills.
Unfortunately, the only person I allow to work on me is myself and Sylvis. Trust me, she would find and kill you if I let you work on me. She knows these things. She is quite terrifying.
I know it's Sylvis, but I can hold my own. I've been out alone this far. Plus, who knows when you're just going to have a spyglass sitting there in your bag when you could just easily just use it.
Well, I appreciate the offer. Like I said, this is something that I cannot be unprogrammed. It's because the only ones that can install this into myself are me and Sylvis. And that is something she has specifically told me.
Gidget, can you at least supply him with directions and the proper equipment to do it himself?
Yeah, I could come up with some sort of piece of paper for it, and I could just make myself another set of tools. It would require some time though, and you guys seem to be on your way. Haven't really had too much of a chance to really try to catch up with you. It's up to you guys, of course. I was kind of intending to head up a little bit north, maybe towards Velmar at least. Try to see if I can find something, but if you guys don't really want another on your ride, save some weight, that's fine.
That is up to you two to decide. Chris, Vex and Inshu, what do you think? Are we allowing this tiny kobold man to go with us for a bit or no?
I can at least help maintain the vehicle as well.
I'm gonna make you make the decision, Jacob. That's what I flipped on.
Ah, motherfucker.
He fucking Uno reverse. He just fucking Uno reverse carded your ass.
He really did. See. Well,
I mean, at the very least, his skills would prove helpful.
I agree. The problem is, I agree as a player, but as a character, he's an artificer.
And as a character, we've known this guy for exactly how many hours?
This is a female.
Yeah, but it is. Well, our guide seems to know him very well.
That's true.
So as a player, I'd be like, yeah, sure. But as a character, he doesn't trust other artificers.
Well, you'll be driving, Jacob, and more than likely she'll be sitting in the back anyway.
But what will happen if I try to go to sleep?
Oh,
I do not trust these artificers. I only have one I trust.
but you don't sleep, don't you? You technically just go into sentry mode, right?
Considering that
artificers are terrifying, they can turn you off.
Oh, that's true.
Considering that she has only looked and has not made an attempt to touch you, she knows boundaries.
I understand this. And trust me, I want to say she could come. But I don't think my character would say she could come. That's why I look to them to answer it. But then Chris said I have to answer
kind of hearing this Uno reverse. Chris just pulls a fucking Uno reverse card out of his pocket. After I see Erulas kind of sitting there contemplating for a few moments, I say, well, at the very least, their skills could prove useful. And they seem to know the guides quite well.
Well, Inshu, if you believe it is best, then I will allow them join us, though I require them to stay at least 15 feet away from me about 90% of the time.
I kind of look to the kobold like, well, what do you think of that?
I want to assume that means car and maybe camp.
You can stay in the car. I will move from the camp if need be.
Good enough. I know I have boundaries. You have boundaries. I won't press them. Unlike other artificers, some are a little more loony than others, but I'm not one of the loony ones.
I'm just going to give one last stare before I head back to the car. I do not like these artificers.
She just says, "It's just how about I just get the Velmar, and then we'll see where that takes us. Then, how about that?"
I'm in the car.
That sounds fine.
Okay, so it's currently about 7 p.m. How far are you guys going to drive into the night?
Does it have autopilot?
I technically have autopilot. I mean, according to the Centuries West, I am inert, I'm not unconscious, and I can see and hear normal. And I'm able to reactivate myself as long as I spend at least 6 hours active or 6 hours inactive. I won't get exhaustion. So technically speaking, I can drive us an extra 2 hours if need be, past when people go to sleep. If you guys want to just take a quick nap in the car, you might be able to get a bit further that way.
What if I want to do a reverse nap?
Reverse nap?
Yeah, instead of
So
a
you
nap,
just want
you do a super awake.
Oh, dear Lord. Well, we can find some cocaine somewhere around here to keep you awake.
You want to pass over some of that fuel?
I do have some grease. I think we should drive for at least 3 hours. What do you think? What do you guys think?
Yeah, drive.
Sounds good to me.
And if you want me to, I can drive until 12 and you guys can kind of sleep. Sleep for the 2 hours before I pull over. That way, we could get up and probably be starting on the next day around 6, because you guys would have technically slept for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Also, just a random question. Are either of you proficient in land vehicles?
I didn't even know that was a stat.
Yep, it's under tools.
No.
Tools? Wait, what do you
Yep.
mean tools?
It's a tool. Like, forgery kit, thieves tools, dice
No.
sets.
I'm proficient in cartographer's tools.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
I'm proficient in jeweler's tools.
I had the ability to drive.
You do. One of the few times that skill is ever used.
We might actually use this skill more than once in this campaign. It's amazing.
So you guys are thinking about driving for about 2 hours, 2-ish hours.
3, I
Three-ish
think.
hours.
At least 3 hours.
Okay.
Trying to figure out, because I could technically drive for 5 hours since I only require 6 hours of quote unquote sleep.
Okay.
That's what you guys want to do, or else we could just do 3 hours and take up camp. We'll just do the 3 hours.
We're racing against the clock. We gotta fly.
All right, 5 hours. 5 hours it is. Let's go.
All right. So everyone hops on the buggy. Gidget mainly just basically has whatever essentials that she had. She packs lightly for the most part, just puts it in the back and tries to mind her own business, considering the terms that were proposed, and starts making the tools. and parchment. As you guys start heading the north of town, you pass by the train station and you hear the conductor at the ticket thing goes, "All aboard!" And the train starts going a little bit south, and you guys are now in the outskirts of Terminus as you start heading for the north.
Jacob, will you be driving top speed 50 miles an hour?
Yes, sir. We are in a hurry.
Okay. So the entire trip, it's about from here to Velmar, it's about 440 miles away. So
Okay.
it'll take about 9 hours to get there. Total.
I could technically drive through that entire thing.
Technically, yes.
I will gain a level of exhaustion.
It's up to you.
I guess while I'm traveling, once I figure out this, I turn to Inshu and Vex and say, if I do not stop, I can make it to where we need to go in 9 hours. Though I may be a bit tired by the time we get there.
Well, I think it might be better to take a break part way, but if you think you can safely get us there, then that may be the correct option.
Does this thing come packed with a wagon? Perhaps we can pull him around.
I can make a wagon.
Huh?
Enough
If
to
that is the case, if that is the case, I will just drive us to ensure we get there. If I were all of you, I would get as much sleep as you can to make up for my lack of abilities by the time we get there. So I'm just gonna drive the full 9 hours.
Let's go!
All right.
Let me go ahead and put on a level of exhaustion.
So
Starting on your about 5-hour journey. It's currently about 7 by the time you guys get everything organized and skip town. You guys start heading up north. You probably pass by, let's say, a small settlement a little bit north from Terminus if any of you needed to stop and get any quick supplies that you might have forgotten.
I am now broke.
I have 100 gold if anyone needs anything.
I mean, I'm pretty much set anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much.
I also have rations still for whatever reason.
Well, you guys, I guess, keep on heading north. Takes you some time. You're on your trajectory towards the Ishak garrison, and it'll probably be about 8 o'clock right now. It's getting kind of out. It's kind of getting a little dark, but the headlights are illuminating enough to where you can still see a decent amount. The roads seem to be fairly empty at this time, except for probably a small caravan or two during the time it took you to leave from Terminus. But as it starts to get a little bit darker on the horizon, you do see a strange flash of light ahead of you.
Uh-oh. What the,
It's a UFO!
It was probably about 8:15.
Okay, so everyone's still good.
Yeah.
So that's just is that directly ahead of us?
A little bit directly ahead to the right.
Oh, okay. I mean,
It's off the road.
I mean, unless one of you guys want to go and figure out what that is, I'm just gonna keep going.
I'm good just to keep going.
As you get a little bit closer, you find that it's probably about 35 to 50 feet on the right hand side of the road. And as you guys get ready to pass it, you see that this thing creates its own light. It looks fairly humanoid in shape, except for it can't really keep its form in a solid state of sorts. And its
Okay.
limbs they seem to be disjointed with 3 glowing, what seem to be eyes on the headpiece.
I don't like it.
I I see. We're swerving around that bitch.
As you drive past it, it doesn't make any moves either towards or away from you, but as you pass by, it raises one of its limbs in a gesture that seems to be pointing at you as you make your way down the road. Its eyes fixed on your vehicle.
Don't you fucking touch this goddamn vehicle. We just got it. Well, I'm gonna keep going. I'm not stopping for it. I'm a robot. I have one program right now, and that is to get to this place and be exhausted.
You guys kind of get to the closest point in between it as it's 50 feet off the road. It doesn't make any moves towards your vehicle, but it stands affixed, eyes directly piercing at your vehicle. And as you start driving away, it just kind of fades off like it just got caught in the wind and just fades off like dust, but with a little hint of glow behind.
Interesting.
So, other than that encounter of something that any of you have not seen before, you haven't seen anything that was any sort of like that, just literally just, as the saying goes, gone with the wind. But you managed to go past the Ishak garrison without any sort of trouble. You continue on your way, and you guys pass the crossroads in between the Ishak garrison and Point Sentry, and in the middle of the way of doing Point Sentry, it's probably 10, maybe almost 10 o'clock at night.
Quick question, who's riding shotgun, just out of curiosity?
I want to ride your shotgun.
Wow.
Does
How many
Vex have
seats? How many seats are there?
5. There's 2 up front, 3 in the back.
Damn. Yeah, I'll be in shotgun. I'll be a shotgun.
So we'll say that Gidget is, since she's the smallest, she'd probably be in the middle, in the back. And I guess Inshu will be on the left, and the guide will be on the right back seat.
And the guide and Gidget are conversing.
Alright, just for reference.
Alright.
So as you guys continue on and it gets near 10 p.m., you could kind of see the faint lights of Point Sentry ahead of you. They still seem fairly far off. You start getting a very eerie feeling about you, Vex. You just feel like the need to just look around and make sure that everything is a-okay with the vehicle.
Like it's not smoking or like broken or anything like that?
Yeah, you can say that.
Alright, I'll start frantically searching.
You
Gotta
guys
make
know
sure every screw is on perfectly tight.
in your seat, you kind of make sure, you kind of check the side of the vehicle and you kind of check the dash and make sure everything's running, make sure, you weren't somehow scammed, but considering how far this thing's driven you so far, it seems to be good. And then you decide to lean forward just a tad bit and then look up past the roof of the vehicle up to the starry sky above.
Oh god.
And what meets your face is both horrifying and exactly familiar. You see that brilliant white smile just looking right back at you.
Oh, oh shit.
Uh-oh.
Its grin grows a little bit when it knows it's been discovered.
I'm trying to figure out what to do.
So from our perspective, Chris is just freaking the fuck out.
Yes, you guys do not know what the hell you see that he's literally just seen a ghost on what seems to be on the top of the vehicle.
I'm gonna reach forward, put a hand on his shoulder, and hit him with a calm emotions.
You still see the ghost, but now you're calm.
I guess if Chris is resisting it, he can make a charisma save. If he's not resisting it, I guess he can willingly fail.
I'll willingly fail.
And it'll suppress any effect causing him to be charmed or frightened.
Inshu, I will say that as you lean forward to deliver this calming of emotions, it doesn't take you long to spot what he's freaking out about.
Well, good thing I can include myself and willingly fail the saving throw.
But is it on a point, or are you consider the car the point?
I'm considering the point like myself. And considering I think all of you are within 20 feet of me.
I am too busy driving to notice.
But I include Chris and myself.
Hit the brakes!
Flies off in front of us.
I actually told
Just
you.
hear
Am I actually hitting the brakes? Is this happening?
That's up to you.
I was gonna cast Thunderbolt, but
Oh no! If no one says anything, I'm just still driving.
Oh, okay.
As you seeing your emotions slowly calmed and knowing that it's not getting any sort of reaction about you, the grin slowly shrinks until it's almost kind of like a neutral face. You see it ponder for a second. And then it goes to the center of the vehicle and starts thinking like it's laughing to itself. And it starts to lean down a little bit like it's about to blow something out of its mouth.
I'm instructing my imp to attack it.
Oh, you're instructing your imp to attack it?
Yeah.
So he comes out of his invisibility and he utters
Is he just floating there, like next to the vehicle, or what?
Pretty much. And he utters a very corny da 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 da. He goes after it, and as he does, you basically just see as he just flies through this big cloud of smoke, and the wind from the wind hitting against the vehicle as it's driving 50 miles an hour quickly blows it away, and he falls down in your lap, and he just starts going.
I'm just gonna like move my hand, like wave my hand in front of my face, like try to fucking make sure that smoke doesn't get in my face. And he just coughed at me.
And he's also rubbing his eyes. He can't see right now.
At this point, you can tell he wasn't sure what he was really getting himself into, and he's just kind of rubbing his eyes, and he's coiled up almost in a fetal position. He's just going.
I'm gonna grab him by the neck, like like you pinch the skin on the back of the neck.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna say, "Don't bother us and go back invisible," and then just toss him out of the fucking window. But like expecting him to not, like fly off or whatever. Fly out and like miss us. Like
have the imp make a dex saving throw with disadvantage.
Oh no. Alright, well, I guess it's time for all of us to have disadvantage. I cast grease in front of the car.
Oh, I need the imp stats pulled up.
Oh god. The car must make a dexterity saving throw in order to not spin out.
13.
How much?
13.
13? So he almost flies out the window. As you toss him, he just utters a ah! But he barely manages to grab a hold of the frame. And
Yeah.
kind of holding on for dear life. And as he manages to get a better grip, he more or less wipes his brow and goes, phew, and then just goes back invisible.
Nice.
I thought we lost that cat. Why the hell is it following us?
I think it likes you.
You saw the cat again. Where?
It was right on the roof of the vehicle.
I'm going to look up. Just quickly, then look back down. That's why, because I must be a safe driver.
Do you have both hands on the wheel?
Just
10 and 2, 10 and 2.
What cat?
There's this weird ghostly cat following us. Oh, we didn't know it was following us until now, but it has an eerie grin to it and looks quite sinister. I don't know what its intentions are, but quite frankly, I don't like it.
I remember she points to the guide. I remember you telling me something about those at some point.
That I did. And for whatever reason, it seems to have taken a liking to us.
Some point or another, we'll see what it wants.
That's always possible.